Hello and welcome to the Amazing You podcast with Elizabeth Maldonado. I'm your host, and we have a special guest today. It's Britt Amsler, and he's going to talk to us about his new book, Here I Go Again. And it is a #1 on Amazon international bestseller. So Britt, tell us a little bit about you and tell us about what inspired you to write the book, and then let us know some of the things that you discuss in the book itself.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So my name is Britt Amsler, and I'm from Texas. I live up east of Dallas in Longview, East Texas. And I have been asked many times over the years if I would consider writing a book about my life stories, because I've experienced a lot of things that some people never will experience, and some things that people don't need to experience. And also, I have a lot of rock and roll friends in the 80s rock and roll era. And that's where people started inspiring, like, you need to write a story about your book. Your life's really cool. So I had a lady in Las Vegas that set me down a little over 4 years ago, and she's done some writing for some athletes. She's also involved in professional sports. And she said, we should write a story about your life, but we need to focus in on your experiences with the Las Vegas Outlaws. So what the Las Vegas Outlaws is an arena football team that was a 1-year-old run in Las Vegas, and it went bankrupt. And it was partners with Vince Neil of Motley Crue and a couple other guys. And basically it was a disaster. So I told her I wasn't interested at first, but after we had multiple conversations around it, I wrote a story about my life. And I started out as a kid going through the Las Vegas period and then going through my birthday last year. I turned 50. And I incorporated rock and roll all the way through it. But I also wrote in here, if you've ever experienced you grew up without a father, or your father was abusive to your mom, if you've ever lost children during a pregnancy, experienced an abortion, for example, if you've ever got a phone call one day and said, hey, you have a 15-year-old daughter, and then you finally get to meet and she rejects you, if you've been bankrupt, if you've lost a friend to suicide, if you've gone in business with your hero for all the wrong reasons and it collapsed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, my book is for you. So,
Perfect.
Yeah, and it's about getting knocked down and then getting back up in life.
And that's exactly what kind of like what I cover in my book too. It's about resiliency, right? It's learning how to deal with loss and grief and then get right back up and go at it again. So I think that's awesome. I think that's definitely what people need to hear more about. So how long did it take you, Britt, to get the book done?
It took us a little over 4 years, and why so long is I had a job that I traveled a lot. And as you probably know too, every day you're not in book mode. I would go sometimes weeks or a month or so and not write a word, and then I would go for weeks and wrote every day. But it took us about 4 years, and then we went over it and over and over because it had a lot of dates and timelines and names. And so we went over and over and over to make sure we got it all right. And then after it was done, right after the first of this year, it took a little while to get I met Michael and it all kind of came together. And so start to finish the publication, 4.5 years.
Wow, that's good though. I think sometimes, when you rush it and you don't do it well, but if you take your time and really, have quality work, then you're proud of your end product. So I think that's a really great thing to do. So tell me a little bit about your spirituality, Britt. Like, I know that when you go through a really hard time like that, it's so easy to just want to give up and just not want to keep moving forward. But what helped you to deal with those losses and the difficulty, and what kind of made you centered and grounded? What helped you to do that?
Well, ultimately, God played a big role in where I'm at today. I will tell you, as a young kid, I was a Christian. We grew up in a Christian church and was raised as a Christian. But as I got older, I strayed away. I did things my way. And there's a lot of things in my book that I probably could have done differently if I'd been closer to God. So writing this book was the best therapist I ever had. And then I've realized that also during the time of writing the book, it brought me closer to God. And it actually made me in a really good place today. But I can go back and see, though, where I strayed away and the difficulties that I probably could have controlled differently could have been handled a little differently if I've been closer to God. So I would say this, that it brought me closer to God, and it's helped me be grounded more as a person, and
Mhm.
helped me think more clearly. And I'm at where I'm at today because of my relationship with God.
That's perfect. No, I think it's so important to be able to find that centeredness and stay grounded and things like that. So talk to us a little bit about, I know when you go through those changes and those motions, you tend to change your circle of influence, right? Like the people you hang around with changes and so talk to us a little bit about that. How was that for you? I mean, did it happen, pretty quickly, or did you kind of just, ease into that change of circle of influence, or was that something where you just decided, hey, it's a hard stop and I'm just gonna, quit being around these people?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll zoom in on the Las Vegas piece, Outlaws piece.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
when I moved to Las Vegas for my job in 2014, I found out that my idol lived in Las Vegas. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm going to be his friend. And in about 3 weeks that I was. And
Oh.
after a few weeks of becoming being his friend was when I was pitched hey, we got a one left spot to be an owner in this football team. Would you be interested in it? Well,
Mhm.
not thinking clearly, I did it for the wrong reasons. Oh my God, I'm
Mhm.
gonna be partners with Vince Neil, Motley Crue.
Mhm.
This is great. Because as a kid, I had on my walls were all posters from top to bottom all around my house, and
Uh-huh.
rock and roll was my life. And so when I experienced that situation, there were people that came to the group, people involved in the team that unfortunately were not the kind of people that I should be hanging around. And when
Mhm.
you run around with certain people or you're involved in a certain experience like a football team and rock stars, you tend to draw people also to the group that normally I wouldn't associate myself with. So
Mhm.
during that year, from start to finish, almost a year, that whole tree, all the leaves fell out of that tree, and I trimmed it to back to the ground, to the stump, basically.
Mhm.
And I feel that look, it's my own fault I got involved, so I blame myself. But I associate myself with bad people, and I lost every penny I had. Every somewhat friendship that I thought that I had there was basically diminished involved in that football team. And I
Mhm.
learned a very valuable lesson because I feel like that God's like, okay, if you want to go follow somebody else in life and not me, well, here you go. Let me tell
Yeah.
you, I learned a valuable lesson. It knocked me to my knees, and I crawled out of Las Vegas in 2016 and could get out there fast enough. And I realized writing this book, it wasn't Las Vegas. It was me and the decisions that I made. So
Mhm.
those
No,
people
it's
are
so
all gone in
true.
my life. I've forgiven them, but I don't ever want to associate myself with those folks or people like that. And if I'd have been better, in the beginning, doing more research, I would have never made that decision.
No, I understand. It's so hard sometimes when you're going through that change, right? When you're trying to get away from a certain group and really surround yourself with good people. And sometimes it's kind of a lonely place for a while there. And I know I experienced that as well. And that loneliness sometimes want to make you go back to your old habits or your old ways or your old associations. And so there's this backsliding that happens, and it's difficult. It's really difficult. I don't think people realize just how difficult it is. Um, I think one of the things that I learned the most was just how powerful you really are. I mean, like just like when you said that you wanted to be friends with him and you said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And in 3 weeks time, you had it, you know? And so think about how powerful that is and how, when you center yourself on something and focus on wanting to get it, you do it. And so when we use that for the positive, I mean, that's going to be a huge thing. I think this, just from what you've told me, that the book is really going to help a lot of people. And sometimes when you're going through those phases, you think you're the only one. Or like, okay, why is this happening to me? And how come just me? And there's a whole bunch of other people experiencing the same kind of thing. And so when you realize that and you read about someone who overcame loss and things like that, it's inspirational. You feel like, okay, well, I can make it through too.
Oh yeah,
It's
totally.
doable. Mhm.
This book is real. It's real life. It's raw, and there's
Mhm.
real language in here. So it's not maybe for everyone. But I will tell you
Mhm.
this, if I can say this, I when I got the deal with Michael, to publish a book, I got on my knees and said, "Okay, God, if this is meant to be published and I can help people, then let it be. I know my life may change," and
Mhm.
it did. And I told you I saw you in San Antonio that within 2 weeks, my company fired me because
Yeah.
of the content of the book, and they didn't like the way it was written, and I got cancel culture. So,
Mm.
but what I was trying to, but the good thing about it is it actually turned my life. My life turned the right corner, and all these new doors have opened up to me. And actually, they did me a favor because
Mhm.
I'm doing
Mhm.
things now, like a podcast, speaking,
Uh-huh.
training. I was at Michael this
Yeah.
weekend in Dallas on the couch, presenting my book,
Yeah.
selling books, wrote a book. And so there's a lot of things that never would have happened if that wouldn't have happened. So again, thankful to God that, he's controlling my life and taking me where I need to be.
And it's so empowering, isn't it, when you finally, you realize, I, I know when I decided to go into business for myself, it was kind of a scary thing. I thought, oh my gosh, I've been working almost 20 years. It had been right at the 20-year mark. And I had been working with the public schools for years. And I thought, okay, I'm going to lose my benefits. And there's nothing to say I'm going to earn a certain amount. It fluctuates, right? But I felt so empowered that I was in control of my own stuff, good, bad, or ugly. It was up to me to make it happen. And I think that's really empowering when you have that. And I do think that God closes doors and opens bigger ones, bigger, better opportunities for us. And we're so scared to let go of what we know to be the routine. And I know when you talked to me about being in the corporate field, like wearing a suit and tie all the time, and you said it was so
Mhm.
great not to have to do it. Remember, you were telling
Yeah,
me that, and
totally.
I thought about that too. I thought, there's times I sit at home and I'm in my, in my shorts and just comfortable, just comfortable, and I don't have to meet a certain, criteria or whatever. But I do feel like you said, um, I'll ask God to, take part in what I'm trying to do and make it happen. And I really feel like when you serve God in such a way, like the book itself, that's going to help so many other people, and that will bring you blessings, and that will, and God will have favor on you for having done that, because a lot of people, they don't want to share their story. Either they're embarrassed or they feel like, oh, you don't tell, your bad stuff to anybody, and, that kind of thing. And we need to walk away from that kind of stigma, because, we have to be real. And it's like you said, even the language, be real, because that's
Yep.
truly how people interact and how they talk and all that. And if we're always trying to censor everything, we're never going to be,
Yep.
evolve in the way that we should. So I commend you for that. And it's not easy to, tell everybody, your story. So I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, it
And
was a little scary, and I put it out there because my mom's like, you're putting your life out there and for the world to see.
mhm,
And but it is what it is. But I'll be honest with you though, the feedback from this every day, I get one or more messages, sometimes multiple, from people.
mhm,
Man, I was reading your book. I just got it in the mail, and I had to make myself stop at 2:30 in the morning to go to bed. Or one guy wrote me and said, I got it on a Friday. I read it till midnight, went to bed, woke up at 4 o'clock, and I read it from 4 to 8 because I knew my wife and I had to leave at 9 o'clock to go to Fort Worth, and I completed your
uh-huh.
book. So the feedback, even though you touched me, oh my gosh, your book is so
Yeah,
amazing. It makes me realize that I can overcome my challenges. So it's the feedback is 24 to 36 hours, maybe 48 people are reading it, and then it's expiring them just as I wanted it to.
mhm.
And so I'm glad that I'm glad it's out there.
Yeah, and when you resonate with something, you feel like there's some commonality, you want to keep reading, you don't want to set it down. So that's a huge compliment. But I commend you for doing it. It's not an easy thing to do. So what are your plans now, Brett? What are you doing now, and what are your plans for the future?
Well, it's funny you say that because for 26 years I've been working in the corporate world and in the alcohol industry. And
Mhm,
as we learned in San Antonio, 95% of our days on autopilot, right?
mhm.
Well, my autopilot just got destroyed, and
Correct.
I'm 6 weeks into now trying to be an entrepreneur.
Mhm,
So I've had some meetings with some investors the past 2 3 weeks. I've narrowed some things down to about 3 avenues of journeys I want to take, and
mhm,
one is creating my own liquor brand. And
mhm,
then the second one is opening my own bar restaurant. And then there's
mhm.
some other things I'm working on too. But I've always wanted to do these kind of things, and I couldn't do it before, and now I have the opportunity to do it. So
Absolutely.
somebody asked me the other day, where do I see myself in 5 years? And I see myself in 5 years going, thank God that what happened to me in August happened, because I wouldn't be where I'm at in these 5 years with an entrepreneurship, a new business, where I'm my own boss. I build my own
Exactly.
business plan. I have my
Mhm.
own Zoom calls with myself. I email and I set my own goals. And then there's no
Mhm.
governor on my wages. So
Right,
I'm
right.
in the mode now. I'm probably by October 17th is my last big meeting with some investors. And I think by that day, I will have my plan pretty much sewn up. And then here we go.
Perfect. I think that's awesome. I think when you build momentum, you just got to keep going. And so many people, they want to stop it. Well, let me give it a little time, or let me just wait till the conditions are just right. You just got to go with it, and then just let it keep going. And you can fix things along the way. I know so many times we want perfection, and you don't want to move forward until you have it. And it's like, you can't, you just got to go with it, and, walk by faith and not by sight, that kind of thing. So I think that's awesome. And both of those ideas I think would be awesome, especially having, that experience already with that type of business. That'd
Right.
be awesome.
It's a little
So that's
scary, but I'm excited to see what happens. It's kind of like you don't know for sure what's going to happen, but I'm excited to find out what's going to happen.
right. Exactly. No, exactly. So if someone wanted to get a hold of the book, or how do they go about buying the book, Britt? And then how do they get a hold of you? Like, where can they reach you?
Okay, sure. So, I mean, look, you can buy the book on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, or Target.com if you choose to. If you'd like to have an autographed copy, I do have a website, and it's my name, Britt Amsler, which is BrittAmsler.com. And you can go on and order one, and I will sign it and send it to you. As far as reach me, I guess probably email is the best way because on my website, I don't think you can send direct messages on there, which is
Oh,
brittamsler@icloud.com. So very simple, brittamsler.com for my website, brittamsler@icloud.com for email.
perfect, perfect. Well, I was so glad to get an autographed copy from you there at Sticker Shock. So, and I know everybody was so excited to talk to you and things like that. And you shared some pictures of when they're working out, and they're building your muscles and stuff like that. And I thought that was really cool. But I also like the idea that you said, hey, I wasn't trying to do that. That was just something that came about, and you were so humble, and it wasn't like you were showboating or nothing like that. And I thought, how cool, that he's very you know easy to talk to, and not trying to show out and stuff like
When
that.
people
So
see me, I'm 250 pounds, I'm 6'2", and I'm bald, and I'm white, and
mhm.
people think, oh, well, he's a little tough or he's arrogant or whatever. But when people talk to me and you hear the same thing is, man, you're a teddy bear. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I got of it too. I thought, how cool. And I remember leaving there, and I was talking to Tani, one of the older ladies that was there. She says, yeah, he's really cool and really nice, and easy to talk to. And I thought, yeah, me too. I thought that too, you know. So I just think that it's an awesome opportunity, and I would say just keep going, and keep dreaming big. So many times we just try to stick to the small stuff or the easy stuff, and it's
Right.
not easy to get to the big stuff. But if you keep at it, you'll make it. And I just think it's awesome that you still have that humble way about you, and I admire that in people. When they're easy to talk to and approachable. There's so many times that I'll meet people and I'm like, I don't know, there's just not this, easy way to, communicate and things like that. And you feel a little intimidated, or like you're not on their level kind of thing. But I didn't feel that way with you at all. I thought, you were
Thank
so
you.
easy to talk to. So, well, I want to thank you, Britt, for being on the podcast. And that, I just think that it's a great opportunity to have you on and tell people about the book, because there's so many different facets that are involved in it. And I think that there's a lot of commonality with people, overcoming adversity, dealing with loss, overcoming grief. There's so many things involved. And all of that are things that we go through in life, that we need help with. And it's easy to, when you read about something like that and you're inspired, you think, well, it's doable. I can get past this. I mean, they did it and I can do it too. So to me, that's an awesome thing to have. It's going to be a great tool for so many people.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'm here, and like I say, I'm easy to reach, and I'd love to tell my story. If you need me back on sometime, let me know. And
Yeah,
thanks for
I
having me.
definitely will. I'm planning a couple of things. I know I have a mastermind dinner coming up, and then I want to do a 3-day workshop, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing. It's a Friday dinner Saturday all day, and then Sunday just like a brunch, but to celebrate like the stuff we, when I want to talk about self-empowerment and things of that sort. But I'm really trying to come up with things that are interactive for people. So I definitely will be in touch with you, because I want to keep doing that. I'm just starting, but like I want to get the life coaching thing off the ground as well. But it's so hard when people don't know who you are yet. You know what I mean? And
I know.
they gotta buy you before they buy your product or service, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. I want to get more exposure and just try to get people to figure it all out. And I want to come across, approachable. So
Oh
I'm
yeah, well,
working
it's funny
on
you say that, because like I feel like my book, the feedback I got, it's been phenomenal. I'm like, well, if I can get this book in front of all these people in the country, that people would buy it. But to your
Yeah,
point, I'm not famous. You don't know me well, but it takes one book at a time to spread. But if I can get
exactly.
this out there, I emailed Fox News last week. I emailed Sean
Oh,
Hannity, LA
good.
people, trying to get
Uh,
responses. But I feel like if I could get, on some podcasts like yours, and I can get on a news channel, and I can get on something, it'll just start to spread, and then get my name out there. And then when people read the book, they're going to tell their friends.
I have Marvin Hurst on my friends list on Facebook, and that might be somebody you can reach out to too. It's here in San Antonio, but I mean, he's got a story too, overcoming, cancer and dealing with that. So, I mean, I think he's really a good model for, dealing with difficult things. But, anybody, I would keep trying. Because you're right. It's the exposure. Once you get the exposure, then it'll just spread like wildfire.
Right on.
Especially when it's, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Britt, for being
Okay,
on, and hopefully you'll keep in touch, because I do want to, keep in touch with you
no
and let me
problem.
know
I'll
how
see
things
you.
are going.
Yeah, awesome. I'll see you, I guess, on Michael's Monday nights. What's that? What are we on Monday nights with him?
Oh,
We're on that
Clubhouse. Oh, the Clubhouse
Clubhouse.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I need
Clubhouse.
to get on there more, but I sometimes I forget, but I was on there the last time. So I'll definitely
He had a
do
good
that.
one last night, and he has two more good ones coming up the next 2 Mondays. So you got to jump on.
Okay. I'll definitely do that. I'll do
Awesome.
that. Thank you so much, Britt. I appreciate
All right.
you.
Take care.
All
Thank you so
right.
much. Bye bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.